Hi, I'm Doug Maw. Welcome to my channel, Vegangelical. Please take a moment to like, share, subscribe and comment on this video, and have a look through my others and take a look at the links in the description as well. So today I'm talking about the weekend action at MBR Acres in Cambridgeshire and vivisection. So over this weekend, 5 beagles were liberated from MBR Acres, which is a site that breeds beagles in order to be sent off for testing at various laboratories throughout the United Kingdom. The operation was clearly very well planned and executed, and looking at what was going on around the site over the last few days, it's clear that the activists who carried this out showed great nerve, resilience, commitment and bravery to go ahead and do it. So especially huge kudos to Ben, Bo and Dan, who have handed themselves in today, from what I understand, in order to highlight the plight of these animals and what's going on at MBR. So huge kudos to them. These people have not only risked their personal safety, but they're also risking their liberty in order to free and liberate these animals. So why did it take great nerve, resilience, commitment and bravery, in my opinion? Because people inside Camp Beagle, which is totally separate from this action, I should say, because they've got a very important role in the tackling of what's going on at MBR, and I wouldn't wish to jeopardise that in any way, shape or form. They're doing a great job at what they're doing. So there are people in there who had reported over the last few days a significant increase in both police presence and activity at the site. So that's prior to this action. So it would very much have looked like they knew something was about to happen. So if that's the case, and these activists were aware of that, then that's why I'd say that took great nerve, resilience, commitment and bravery, because not only are they taking a great risk anyway in doing this action, but to hear from inside the camp that the police are pretty much aware that something's about to go down and still go ahead and do it, that's what I mean by that. And these 3 guys in particular, who have put their heads above the parapet, having rescued some of the dogs to go back, hand themselves in, they get huge amount of kudos for doing that. And yeah, they deserve all our support. So well done to them, as well as the organisers. So why is this an issue? So vivisection, it's a horrific thing. When I went vegan in 1996, I did it for a number of reasons. One large contributory factor was seeing what was happening in vivisection labs, both in terms of footage that I'd seen, but also in terms of literature I was reading. So it's very difficult to get hold of modern footage of what's going on in vivisection labs, because they're protected by laws. And if people could see what was going on there, I think there'd be a lot more people willing to take the risks that these people took this weekend in liberating these animals. So what is vivisection? Well, number one, it's bad science. So 9 out of 10 experiments that are successful on non-human animals, when they reach human trial, they do not predict correctly for humans. So in other words, 9 out of 10 successfully tested treatments on non-human animals have no effect or are counterproductive in humans. So it is bad science. If you had that return on any other form of experimentation, you would stop doing it, because it's just not working. So that's one. Two, it's legalised torture. Anyone who's seen what happens to these animals, whether it be monkeys, dogs, rats, mice, rabbits, whatever animal it is literally torture what they're doing to them. And especially when you see a lot of these experiments are ones they've already carried out. So even if they were effective, which they're not, even if they were effective, why are they carrying out the same experiments again and again ad infinitum? It's just sick, really, is the only way I can describe it. So number three is it brings shame on the United Kingdom. So why do I say that? Because we describe ourselves as a nation of animal lovers. Now, a nation of animal lovers would not be able to watch and see what is going on in these labs and these breeding facilities and stand by and not do something about it. So there's two things to that. Firstly, if they are attempting to justify that kind of treatment of animals, then they are most definitely not animal lovers. And number two, those who are animal lovers are being kept in the dark. So why are they being kept in the dark? So vivisection receives a lot of money, a lot of funding, and it is highly connected to politicians. So there are politicians from various parties, it's not just the government who are responsible. Many political parties are connected to vivisection and these companies and nations. So NBR, for example, is an American company based in Cambridgeshire. So when it's being policed, it's by Cambridgeshire Police and other police forces, then it's our taxpayers' money going to police our people for an American business. So our police are acting as a private security firm for an American firm that is torturing animals, basically. So it's protected because they bring money to the UK by doing this. So there are billions of pounds spent on rearing animals, so breeders make money on the pharmaceuticals and on the cages and other kind of equipment that is used in these facilities. And if you take a look at the directors and financial connections to these organisations, you will see a list of politicians from the UK. So they have vested interests and financial interests in continuing the status quo. And another reason they continue to fund it is since the second half of the 19th century, experimenting on animals became a part of all medical curricula, and researchers were obliged to perform animal experiments to earn their degrees. So it's in the interests of those who supply these animals and the facilities to conduct these tests to keep that going. So they are very powerful in terms of their financial lobby, and they obviously have their connections with politicians. So when I say it's bad science and there are 90% of these experiments don't translate effectively to human populations, there have been studies and there have been questionnaires. So one comes to mind where 500 GPs were approached to ask their opinions, and 83% of those GPs approached support an independent scientific evaluation in clinical relevance of animal experimentation, because if you look at some of the other answers to the questions, it's clear that that proportion of GPs do not believe it to be good science. So 82% of GPs believe that animal data is misleading when applied to humans, and only 20% of GPs have any confidence in animal tests over human-based tests. So there are lots of ways testing can be done that doesn't involve animal experiments, and which has led to many excellent breakthroughs in science and research. So there's in vitro research, which is through a test tube. There's epidemiology, which is population-based research. There are post-mortem studies, genetic research, clinical studies of patients, human tissue studies, computer modelling, which is coming on in incredible leaps and bounds with companies like the Animal Free Research UK, formerly the Dr. Hadwin Trust, leading the way on that. We've got advances in technology and human stem cell use, all of which are far more reliable than non-human animal testing. So why aren't politicians having a royal commission into the use of animals in experimentation? The only reason I can think of is that they don't want the public to see what is happening, and they don't want people to know that their fingers are in the pies of this sick, torturous trade. So I'll just finish by saying I've seen and heard a lot of criticism lately of principled animal rights activists allegedly being far too focused on principles, if you can have such a thing. It seems to me a bizarre accusation for other people who are supposed to be in our movement to say people are too principled. But yeah, I've heard that a lot lately around some of the other issues I've talked about in my videos. And just remember, it's those very people who are literally putting their personal safety and liberty at risk to actually, measurably and clearly save animals' lives. So before criticising people who are trying to be as consistently moral as they can, ask yourself, who are your heroes? Who are these people who are doing this? These are the very same people who are being criticised for being too moral. So thank you to everyone involved in that action. Thank you to everyone who writes to their MPs asking them and demanding that there's a royal commission into animal experimentation. And thanks to everyone who likes, comments, shares or subscribes to my videos. And please leave me your views on vivisection. I'm quite willing to engage in debate about it. I've got lots and lots of facts and figures that I can throw around, but I didn't want to do it in that format because it can come across as quite staid and boring. I just wanted to give my opinions from my heart on this issue based around the events of this weekend. So let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll catch you in another video soon.